Anybody who is in the audience?
We just have a couple minutes before 6.
Can you hear us, Tucker?
You're on mute.
Because okay, can you unmute just to make sure you can talk?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Fabulous, we can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Tuck, Sophia's trying to wear a windbreaker with her homecoming dress. Do you think you can talk her out of it?
Talk her out of a windbreaker.
Yeah.
I can only do so much.
We can get her a clear punch.
Yeah, there we go.
Mom kept going, let's get her a wrap. And I'm like. All right, I'll stop it.
Yeah.
My sister never had to deal with this stuff with Isabel did. Never.
Really?
Isabel is super curly.
Yeah. Well, everybody's different.
Yeah, we've enjoyed shopping today, because she's home she's leaving, because she has a class tomorrow, but today she's like, let's go to lunch. I'm like,
Oh.
So we went to the Wild Pear. You know how
Oh,
much work I had
yeah.
being gone? But I took my 2 hours and I went to lunch.
She just wants to be with you.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, should be,
Yeah, happy
Cuddle
for
bud.
that.
yeah. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole time I was stressing about.
Yeah, you're like, love you, hun, but.
Yeah, and that's the flow, by the way.
Have you guys been? It's really good.
No,
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
been. Okay.
It's like a little bougie.
Yeah, right. Oh, okay, all right.
Perfect for us.
Yes, exactly.
Good.
So yes, we would highly recommend it. The butternut's squash soup. Oh my gosh, curry, butternut curry squash.
Oh, nice.
Delicious.
Alina, what is the cozy cabanera?
Yeah.
That's the best place to eat in Salem though.
Yeah. Habanero.
The cabanera, it's really good.
Yeah.
Spendy, but delicious.
Delicious. With or with Danish tapas. Absolutely the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
This meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Unfortunately, we don't have quorum, so we're just going to go through things pretty quickly today. And are we going to do public forum for sign up? We don't, did anybody sign up?
No.
Okay.
Did you sign up?
I did.
Oh, yes. Oh,
you
the
did?
chief
Okay,
did.
great.
Oh, well.
You can ignore me, that's okay.
I did
You're
see
one
it.
of the first on there.
I just need to make the announcement about your work session on the 10th of November.
Yeah.
That'll start at 6 o'clock. And besides having each of the committees from the strategic plan reporting out to give you a quarterly update, you'll also have some professional development that I'm working on with Creighton with regard to our ELL kids and their academic progress, and that will meet your kind of the parameters for your scholarship with OSBA. So we're just going to plug away on that so that we can make sure to check it out. So
I'm actually really excited about that.
Yeah. yeah, I think
Good
it's
one.
got some really good possibilities. And then you also, as we were just talking about, the OSBA convention then starts the day after that. And I will be presenting during one of the workshops. I'm not sure which time yet, but I'll let you know. And I am helping the people from Youth Truth present to other board members about the power of participating in the Youth Truth survey and how it is very transparent, I guess is the word you could use in terms of parents can see the questions ahead of time and gauge whether or not it's something that they want their kids to participate in. And we will be administering the Youth Truth Survey to our own kids in November. And so we're starting to put out parent communication for that next week.
Great, awesome, great, thank you. Then I guess we can go into public forum.
Mhm.
Chief, if you want to.
Go for them, darn.
One of those days.
Well, we got that too. Well, I'm just here to Mark Chase, Service Police Department. Address of Police Department, 592 4th Street, and I just wanted to give you a couple updates. Number one is I want to say I really appreciate your superintendent, Danny Stevens, as well as our city manager, Susie Marston. As you've seen the construction going on out here, while there was many people involved in working on the Safe School grant to get those sidewalks and the widening of the street. Superintendent Stevens and City Manager Marston kind of were the ones that collaborated and worked together. And so when the school district and the city work together well, that's what you see the results of. And I just want to say thank you to Superintendent Stevens and the board for that out there. The second thing is I was wanted to update you that the DARE program will be starting next week. We got a little later than what we anticipated, but Lieutenant West had to go to supervision training, and which is who's gone there this week, as well as some other things that occurred where he needed some time off. And so that'll be starting next week, and graduation will be after the first of the year. And again, a lot of people don't realize it, but the DARE program has been validated and is evidence-based. And so it's not what it was before, and they're constantly updating it, and they have a scientific review board that makes sure that all the lessons are relevant and current. So it's a 10-week program. And then the next thing is we just been really today was a good example, really inundated with a lot of DHS reports and cross reports. The teachers and staff is doing a real good job of reporting things, which is important, but it does keep us pretty busy. And with Tim being on this week, the officer's been taking up the load and dealing with that. So I just want to say that appreciate staff recognizing the needs for reporting suspicious activities and looking out for our kiddos. Our philosophy with the police department on that, so you're aware of it, is that we'd rather look at 100 cases that are nothing because we don't know, and go out and look at those rather than just close them at screening or not look at them and then miss maybe one potential one. In fact, the guys are at a house right now dealing with a student and their family as we speak. So, and then lastly, we are trying to teach, I forgot to mention with DARE in the 8th grade, but one of the things involved in the strategic plan for DARE International and looking at how that could improve and the weaknesses and strengths of it. And one of the things we just found out is that the lesson plans for the 8th grade are about 45 minutes, but there's only a block of about 30-minute instruction. And so we're trying to figure out how we could make that happen, because we'd really like the 8th graders who have had this 6 or have had the grade school curriculum. All those 6th, 7th, and 8th have had that. And so we like to get the 8th curriculum taught because it helps with social emotional learning, resistance skills, bullying behavior, online predator behavior, and just good social skills that are, again, evidence-based. So, and if you have any questions, I'm here to answer anything you have, but that's the updates for the police department.
Thank you very much. We
We
appreciate
only have
it.
2 here, but that's okay.
We very much appreciate you, and I love getting the updates. I think it's really awesome. So thank
I'll
you.
try to continue doing that and stay within my 3 minutes. So.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks for coming.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ashton Sattergren. I'm ASB president at Jervis High School. And I've come today to update you all on how homecoming going this week. And, you know, it's going good. Today was our second to last day of our Spirit Week, and it was construction day at school, which was going really good so far. I think the students have really enjoyed our Spirit Week so far. Had lots of participation, which is really good. Excuse me. We sold a couple tickets today, and so far for our homecoming dance, we've had 65 confirmed people buy their tickets. But we're expecting more at the door of the day of homecoming. That's how it tends to be. That's where the majority of the tickets sales come from. And yeah. That's about it.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start with the high school. I'm gonna start with Tucker first. If that's okay, Andrew, because I know he's got a conference with his kiddo. Go ahead, Tucker.
Well, I'll talk about athletics, and there's been a lot of exciting stuff going on. First, Kevin and Gustavo and the crew with updating of the lights, re-aiming those at the end of August, and now the football field's nice and bright. All we did was took it from the track and re-aimed them out onto the field, and it's a noticeable difference when you go out to games now. This new scoreboard is great at football. We turned the scoreboard at the soccer field, so everybody's been really excited about that, with being able to tell the time during soccer games and see the score. And Kevin's done an amazing job on the varsity fields, having those up and going. And we even created a little middle school field that we played some games on as well when we've had big events. As far as the things that I'm really been excited about with sports, in the middle school, we had two volleyball teams, both A and a B team. We had a football team, and we had a weird number for soccer, so we only had one team. They unfortunately finished up today with the air quality. We had to cancel all that stuff. Was their last game. It's kind of a bummer for them, but they also understood because we were on top of that early on. And one of the really exciting things, on Tuesday, we hosted the middle school district cross country meet at Jervis on the walking path. So we had four middle schools from the area partake in that. We gave out medals and trophies, and it was pretty cool event to see that going on with girls home varsity soccer. And it was just awesome to see so many people out on our campus and utilizing that track. So in the high school, we've had over 125 athletes out this fall, which is amazing. We had 3 volleyball teams. We had 2 girls soccer teams, the first time we've ever had a girls JV soccer team. We played 4 games, which is awesome. Boys soccer's kind of at a rough number. They're close to having 2 teams, but they only had 1. Their numbers are at 20, and football is staying pretty strong, about 30 this fall. So it's been outstanding, and having a cross country team for the first time in 32 years and having a meet on campus was great. To do that, and our coaches are amazing. Julie's been awesome on top of all her stuff with behind the scenes scheduling and getting buses and transportation with Rita, and today was crazy because we had to cancel stuff and everything, but it's been going great. It's exciting. Our teams have been having some great success today. Volleyball is over at Culver in the league playoff, playing right now. I don't have any updates for you. So they don't have their NFHS going in their gym, so we can't watch it live, which is interesting, but they do have 2 officials. Then our boys soccer gets to go back to Taft tomorrow for the league playoff game. That will be broadcast live at 4:15, so we can watch that for the league playoff. So it's exciting stuff for our kids, and it's just been, as Ashton said, with homecoming this week, it's been outstanding. The energy in the gym today, Andrew can talk about that too. It was pretty amazing. And so we finish up tomorrow with homecoming football at 7 o'clock in the rain, finally. But it's been great to see all the excitement with all the kids in the community out with the different events that we've had this fall.
Thank you, Tuck. It's been a lot of fun watching how much is changing and improving, and I just feel like we're having a lot of kids come out, and it's just really awesome to see. So thank you. You're doing an excellent job.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker. I wanted him to go second, which is it's fine. He went first, but his stuff's more exciting. I have a lot of things that I'm gonna get through. quick. So bear with me. Enrollment's up, as we all know, which is really good. In the board report, it was +6. I think we got 3 to 5, 6 more students now. And they're coming out of the woodwork, which is fantastic. I'll touch on homecoming week. It's been great. It's been a challenge getting the freshmen and even the sophomores to yell as loud as they can, but the seniors and juniors have been leading them along the way. So we're having assemblies every single day. Today, I think, was the first day when we really felt like the entire student body was excited just about being together. So tomorrow will kind of be the wrap up of homecoming week with the dance on Saturday. So that's been really nice to see. It's really the first school year that feels completely normal, honestly. And so just that goes along with everything. Clubs are going on. We have a brand new journalism club. Some students brought back the Inkling, which I'm sure Dandy knows what that is. It's the former student run newspaper. So Ryan Figura, Kate Follett are running that, along with the majority are senior students. And they are in the process of trying to get prices on actually publishing a legitimate newspaper, instead of just, having us do it on 11 by 17 out of the office. So,
I was still impressed.
yeah, no, so they
Any
had
color.
their first issue, a week or two ago, and it looked beautiful. It was great. And I met with them and talked, they're like, this is awesome, but we want to take this thing and run with it. So that's it. Kids are really excited about it. All the other clubs are doing great as well. We always want more students in clubs. It's hard in our district because so many kids do athletics. So just trying to push more clubs, anything you want to do, teachers, do it. But it's great to have journalism back. We started a new student support team this year. That's a combination of administrators, counselors, special education, nurses, attendants, every single pocket of student support that we could find at the high school, and we're meeting every Friday. And we're asking if students have a concern about students, whether it's behavior, attendance, grades, whatever it may be. It's a quick Google form. And it asks you 5 questions, you fill it out so that we can meet as a team and try to address what that major concern is. The reason we did this is because in the past, it's a teacher will send out an email to whoever and say, hey, you need to talk to this kid. So we're trying to really form a team that can address student concerns at the high school on a regular basis. And so far, we've had about 17 students referred through that process, which has been good. There's never any magic answer as to what the issue may be with the student. But we feel like we have a team that's addressing every issue that it could possibly be, whether that's behavior, attendance, medical issues, whatever it may be. So that's been going well so far, and we hope to keep the momentum going.
Great.
A couple other things. So Andrea Oropeza, our counselor, now we don't have a college and career advisor anymore, so she's absorbed that role. But she's been doing a fantastic job. She has a number of college visits that are coming up. That started this week. They'll be going on for the next 2 or 3 weeks. She's also brought back the Aspire program to our school, which is kind of a post high school preparation kind of program. And we're continuing doing Upward Bound and Trio. So last night she had her first financial aid night. Attendance was not fantastic. They don't tend to be for those types of things, but she's going to be hosting more of those coming up. So she's working really hard with all of the college and career prep work. One big thing we're focusing on, I'll get to this. We also started a student advisory council. So every advisory class, teachers chose 1 student as a representative. And so We're trying to form a true student, I don't want to say government, but a true student advisory group. And they meet with Tucker and I every Friday. We've only had 2 meetings so far. Things have gotten in the way, like homecoming and that kind of thing, but we've started with asking them just certain questions. We asked them, what questions should we be asking students to help improve Jervis High School? What do you think needs to be improved at Jervis High School? So as a starting point, we're going to try to create a student survey that they can then take back to their peers in advisory class and ask them questions and really try to use the students' own voices to figure out how we can improve. And then finally, and this is my last thing, we asked staff to reflect on 3 things at the beginning of the year. I gave them 3 very quick questions, and we're going to come back to this in the coming weeks. And it was what should change. It's kind of similar to the student advisory group, but from the teacher side, the staff side, what should change at GHS, what should stay the same, and how do we make GHS better? And the answers run from let's bring back $2 salads at lunchtime for staff, all the way to
Yes.
let's use restorative justice practices and discipline. Let's, offer more CTE course, it runs the gamut. So that's what I have for you today. I know that's a lot.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
I will say, Andrea's done a good job on the website
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like the
college
tab for-
career
yeah,
website.
Yeah, she's really like getting hit hard right now, it seems like.
No, she is. Scheduling is done with, which is good. Her job's interesting because it's like full-time scheduling. Now she's full-time college and career. As the
Yeah.
year goes on, she really focuses on different things. But she has absorbed a lot
Yeah.
this year. She's doing great and we're supporting her as best we can.
I'm just worried about all of you guys kind of like, I know we're just getting going, but burning out, there's so much stuff. So,
We
thank
have
you.
Red Bull in my fridge. Any questions?
Guys, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. It's nice to be here in person.
Nice to see people.
Okay, Dusty, if you want to go ahead and unmute and turn your camera on.
How are we doing?
Hello. Hi.
Okay, thanks for letting me join you. Just had a few updates for the elementary school that we wanted to share. One is we've been having monthly family activities, and we began with a family art night with 42 families that came to the elementary school. And it was great. We had a variety of abstract sculptures they could do, watercolor paintings, and some mosaics. It was good to get families there connecting with each other. We also, for parent conferences last week, we're in the high 80%, probably close to 90% attendance rate. So just a really great turnout. It was really good having families there, connecting with teachers. And then we're also right now doing our after school clubs, and just really grateful for that ODE Latinx Student Success Grant to make that possible. Creighton's legwork to set that up, but we have 70% of the school right now participating in those clubs 3 days a week, and the kids are beyond excited for those opportunities. And there's everything from some pretty amazing violin instruction to STEAM, they're coding robots, to drama and art, learning Spanish. So pretty amazing opportunities there. And then I think a really great thing happening this year is some very intentional interventions. And so Raul Gomez with the ELD interventions and Cindy Smith with the reading interventions has been absolutely amazing. They're providing reading interventions to every student at Jervis Elementary, and English language development to every student as well. And so that's been, I think, an incredibly positive thing. We're going to see a lot of growth this year because of that, which is great because COVID was really tough on a lot of kids. So I think that kind of intentionality is going to bring about a lot of progress. Construction is underway, and just really appreciate, the contractors have been great to work with in the city too. And so we've just completely closed down the front of the school, and we're having everybody coming in to the site, and it's going really smooth. Again, student safety has been just paramount to that. So we appreciate the police department, the city being willing to close down just a small section of that road during construction, just really to keep kids safe as they're coming and going from the school. And the thing I'd kind of add that all of this is possible. The district has been incredibly supportive. And so we're just beyond grateful for a district that has been responsive and has been incredibly supportive and helping to be dream makers for a lot of these things for our kids. And so we're just trying our very best to engage our families, to help families connect with each other, to really provide the interventions that our kids need to be successful. And we're just grateful for everybody who's made that happen. Everything from Dandy and Sandra and Philip at the district office, Crane and Marty Cruz over at the Welcome Center. We appreciate Melinda with all the food service, Rita with all the busing. Just, I mean, all of this happens with a whole army of people behind the scenes and in the trenches. And so, and to the school board, thank you for, I guess, being super supportive of all these things that are happening. So that's just the short update that we wanted to share out tonight.
Thank you. I was amazed that you had 42 families that showed up for that. That seemed like a lot to me. For us anyway, in Jervis.
You know, Yeah, and
I thought that was
there'll be
really
more.
cool.
I mean, there'll be more as that word gets out. More will come.
Yeah.
You know, for our next activities.
Yeah, studying that. That's awesome. So thank you so much.
Dusty, I was just thinking as you're talking about the violin group, are you guys taking pictures of your different activities?
Yes, I have a lot of pictures. For me, it's that making sure I'm not shooting any photos of the handful of kids that have asked not to. So I need to get that figured out. But yes, I have some amazing photos I would love to share because it's pretty awesome. I don't know any elementary school who's getting the kind of violin instruction those kiddos are getting. So just in that one club, it's amazing. Stephanie
Yeah.
So is exceptional. And so it's great that these kids are getting that kind of exposure.
Awesome.
It is nice. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Dusty. I know you have to go back to your other meeting. Thank you.
Yep.
And then last but not least, we have Tony Johnson from the middle school is joining us. And, oh, yep, you're on,
Hello.
Tony.
So
Hello.
very sorry. I don't know why I thought it started at 7, so I apologize. Thank you very much, Andrew, for calling me. Where are you? So sorry about being late. So update of what's going on. So let's see what caught me off guard here. Sorry. So the biggest thing, I guess, is just kind of getting things in stride. Conferences went really well. I think Maria said something like we only had 24 parents that unfortunately, for whatever reason, didn't come. Her and I did a really good job, especially on Wednesday. She would call the Spanish speaking and I would call the English speaking families if they were like 15 minutes late and, hey, where are you? And rescheduled them and got them in. So we got to see a lot of families, and families really seem to appreciate in-person conferences. And I know the staff really liked that. It was great to see that. See what else? Doing my weekly newsletters. Those seem to be going well. Seem to be a positive receive. Haven't really heard a lot from community, but I'm assuming they're getting them. Creighton, I'm having a really hard time concentrating.
Sorry, I'll stop. My kids are getting cheese. They're raiding the refrigerator. And sorry, I didn't know that I was on
Totally
your
fine.
screen.
It was quite entertaining. It was okay. So yeah, so what else is happening? So we're getting ready for Spirit Week coming up. It's going to be starting that the leadership is going to be doing that. That is not the next week, but it's going to start the day of Halloween and run the week. So the students are always really excited about that happening. Always brings a lot of fun into the school. We had an assembly. We have it the first Friday of each month. So we had the assembly the first Friday of October and celebrated 10 students for the character of responsibility. And then we celebrated 10 other students, which is a new reward called Academic ACE, which was for students for core classes, students that seem to excel in math and reading and history, science. So we did that, and then we had the dance group that danced, which was really, really good. The staff students really enjoyed that. Yeah, that's kind of the main things. yeah, so students seem to be settling in. Things are going well. We have a new counselor, Aloha. She seems to be doing really well. Students are coming to her and talking to her. And yeah, it's good.
Great. Do you have outdoor school next week, Tony?
We do. We do have outdoor school next week. That is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. I talked to the sixth grade team yesterday and today, and they have 100% of students have signed up for outdoor school, which is really exciting because usually there's a good chunk of anywhere from 5 to 15 that don't want to go. I guess there's 1 or 2 that are kind of like, but they've turned in their permission slips and parents are trying to say, go, it will be fun. So they have the groups all made. They also have, I think, 5 or 6, I want to say, I hope I didn't lie to you, parents that are going, which is really, really good. Especially since the weather's now changed and it's going to be rainy. But yeah, the kids seem really excited and it should be a really good time. So it is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They leave at like 9:15 in the morning and return anywhere from 5:30 to 6 in the evening and then go back the next day.
How fun. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Tony, thank you. And we'll have Dr. Helms present next month with preschool daycare and special programs.
Dandy, would it be okay if I did a quick shout out for the Dia de los Muertos coming up?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go quick. So on November 1st, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the middle school gymnasium will be our second annual large-scale Dia de los Muertos celebration. It was probably the district's largest community event last year, and we decided to step that up by quite a bit this year. Planning is going terrific. We write a really good team. We have a face painting zone. We've got sugar cookies that are going to be shaped as Dia de los Muertos skulls with icing and frosting and sprinkled. We've got food trucks and Kona Ice that are going to be there. Love Inc., which is one of our like social emotional partners, is going to have a table. Adelita and her group, they're going to have an arts and crafts table, and they're also going to dance. We're going to screen the movie Coco with a popcorn machine. There's going to be Mexican hot chocolate that's served. Jerry Jimenez is going to be doing a very traditional Dia de los Muertos altar for people that participate in that tradition. Celia Marquez is going to have a photo booth with a Dia de los Muertos backdrop to it. Dandy in the district will have a table. Our nurses will have a table. Jervis Police Department will have a table. So really excited about that particular event. We've hired for an hour a very professional mariachi band that's going to be there. That's going to play live mariachi for about an hour, which is really exciting. So that's November 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. Really excited about that. And then on November 15th, 2 weeks later, in the high school, we're having an attendance bingo and health fair. And again, that's going to be as big, if not bigger, than the Dia de los Muertos event. I believe that there's information in my board packet about that, but we're going to have a bingo event going on in the cafeteria, lots of prizes, celebrating positive attendance and reasons for kids to be on time every day. And then in the gymnasium, we already have confirmation that a lot of local service providers, so Salem Pediatric, Capital Dental, Pacific Source, Legacy Medical, Brightway Counseling, Options Counseling, Mano a Mano, Willamette Health, CERT, Salem Hospitals. Those are just a sample of people that have already confirmed that they are going to come and have a table and be able to provide information and other things to the community. We're going to be giving out free haircuts to children. We're going to have a free coat rack for children that need coats. A lot of our OHSU nursing candidate students are going to be there. And so that's also, there should be more information coming out very soon on both of those events, but knowing that those will both occur before the next board meeting, just thought I would float both of those and about how excited we are to be doing them.
Awesome. Thank you. I've already been posting it on social media, like resharing all this stuff on Dia de los Muertos and things like that. So yeah, it's awesome.
I appreciate it.
I'm very excited. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm excited for the food trucks.
I think by November 2nd, our kids are gonna be all jacked up on sugar between Halloween and, it's not gonna be pretty on Wednesday. But anyway, thank you, Creighton. Thank you. Yeah, you're not taking a personal day. Karen, you're up.
I'm distracted by Creighton. I sit.
I know, don't look at him.
If it's okay with the group and Dandy, I'll take off so I can go stop my kids from eating cheese. Thank you.
Thanks, Creighton.
All right.
I'll
Well,
probably
with the-
sneak out too. So thank you guys. And again, I apologize for being late.
All right, thank you.
Fabulous. We are a quarter of the year concluded, July, September. And we're on page 26 which is not numbered, so it's after page 25. Reflected in the year-to-date revenues.
First graph.
Top row, center, you'll see it says 32.16 of the general fund state sources have been received, which is right where we should be because we get the 2 months worth in July. And then off to the far left side there, year-to-date local is only 2.06, and that's because the majority of those funds are taxes, and we pay taxes in October and we get them in November. So we see a huge influx of the taxes come in November. Rest of the year, it's just a little bit here and there. So now if you'd like to turn, this is page 28, which is kind of embedded in the words budget management analytics down there. You know, we're right where we should be as far as, you know, what we're projecting in expenditures for salary and associated payroll costs. Those are looking, you know, when you go out to the far end, it's looking like it's right on pace, which is going to be true for the general fund. But for the 200 funds, which are all our special revenue funds, I'm anticipating those might be higher than what we are expected them at the start of the year or when we were setting the budget. And this is due, we've got this large Latinx grant, and there is a potential for an additional large grant after school. And so I'm going to keep an eye on that, but I'm kind of feeling like we might need a supplemental budget to kind of make sure that we have enough in the budget to cover the spending that goes along with that. It's a lot of staff that we will be spending on for that. So just keep you abreast that is probably going to happen. And then the page 30, this is a periodic update that I show you. Frontier Charter, and this graph includes from when we put this money into a separate fund to watch it from July 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2022, basically 2.25 years. And it shows the revenues that have come in because of Frontier Charter students. And then the expenditures, which are our payments right back out to Frontier Charter for them to pay their bills. And the difference is currently right at 641,000. So that's our kind of watching that grow. Unfortunately, they did lose quite a few students than what they were projecting at. So, you know, it won't grow quite as much as we anticipated again in the budget. Won't quite hit those marks unless they get a big influx. So that is all I had. And if you have any questions for me?
No, I was just curious. I was sitting on a plane and I had way too much time to think.
Oh,
And over the period of time, like, let's say over the last 5-10 years, what are expenses to student ratio? Do we have anything like that? I'm like, as I said, I had way too much weird time to be thinking, and I'm like, but have we ever
Well-
done anything, something like similar to that?
so, you know, I could create some sort of report.
No, it's, I was just
But we
curious if
don't.
you've ever looked at anything like that.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
And it would be like, are we looking at general fund, how that lays out, or everything?
The whole, I mean, because overall, when I started thinking, I was thinking about it, as I said, what happens, I was looking at this stuff and I thought, have we ever really looked and taken the time to see what are, how much income we get and to students, per student kind of a thing, and then kind of the expense, an income to ratio kind of a thing. And looking, because as we know, when I think about it, inflation, this is like 8% this year, easy. If not, we'll see what it ends up at, right? But are we keeping pace then with that where we're, from a salary perspective and everything else, and income, and to match that kind of stuff, I was just thinking that might be beneficial to look at and to be able to say, look, at the end of the day, we actually haven't received much more funds from per student cost, based on all that. And that could be a selling point technically when you could start talking about bond stuff too, because people understand that. If you have $12,000 a student and each year it goes up a little bit, but because of inflation, then you're like, look at this.
And I feel like, looking at the general fund is probably the best place to look for that, because we've had such an influx of grants due to COVID.
Right.
So I feel like we do have like the formula for the state school fund that says this much per student. And that figure does go up over the years, and that's what they're giving us per student.
Yeah.
But I think it would be interesting to kind of look at that as a 10-year photo, and maybe look at what we spent as well
Right.
per student.
And then the other thing you can say is look at all these grants and this is why we have these extra people. But this is something that if I didn't have the staff and I didn't have the talent on my team, we wouldn't be getting these.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Karen and I all work on some different scenarios.
I mean,
Bring those to you guys. I think it's a great point. I think it's, especially when we think about what will happen with whoever, Karen and Creighton and I were at a meeting this afternoon, that talked about what's going to happen with this next biennium's budget and what they believe that they're going to base the budget on, and how are we going to maintain the level of services that we have now, without ESSER funds, so it's going to be a challenge. And I'm thankful we didn't have to bargain this year, but we are going to have to bargain with both units in the spring. And so that will be a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry to create more work.
Oh, it's okay.
Probably something we need to do anyway, something like that for bargaining. Just to give you a heads up, we are at 890 students as of this afternoon. We based our budget on 845 students. And so one of the first things that we did is we hired that extra first grade teacher. But I have also asked Karen, because we have another teacher, a TOSA, the title TOSA and the title kind of like the discipline person at the elementary school that we've been covering out of ESSER money. And so as the elementary student population goes up, I would like Karen, to move those salaries out of the special grant and put them back into the general fund, so that we have a true picture at the end of the year on what staffing really costs us. And so, because I think it's, like you said, with the grants, we've been covering a lot that is.
Been so lucky with that.
Very
Yeah.
lucky.
Exactly. If we didn't have them.
Right,
No,
we would
and
be.
one of the best things you did was to hire the grant writer.
Yeah.
'cause, like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just
Absolutely.
No
Totally
brainer.
paid for herself, yeah. So my report, page 31, some pretty basic information there, and I'll cover more bond stuff in a minute, but I did want to share with you on the webpage. Get my mouse to work. So under community, we have district newsletters. And so we had the 3 from last year. This one just went in the mail today or yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. So you should all be getting a copy of that. And then we're also going to print out some others just to have on hand, like at the Welcome Center in each school. And so this Community Connections, we've got that writer that we've hired to put together the articles. And so the first 4 pages are typical of highlighting each school or a program. And then we have our first insert that covers it's called School Board Update. And so that's something that you had all talked about wanting to have to educate people about who you guys are and what your focus is. And so the writer focused on the tours that we did and the community engagement. And then we have a little blurb on our first board member, you. And then we'll do that through the rest of the year as well as we go through there. So this is getting mailed out to 4,000 households, is that right?
It's actually 1 per household.
One per household.
The full for that.
And so to do this, just to mail it was $2,900. And then to print it is going to be a few $100s. I figure by the time I get all of the amounts, and I will get this for you, that each of these is going to cost us about $4,000 to produce and send out. Now we have money in SIA for parent communication. But when you talk, so when we start talking about when people don't know what's going on, they're not engaged, it takes significant money and effort to make something like that happen. And so, you know, we have the money from SIA. And it's posted on the website. So hopefully people will take advantage of the communication.
I think this is good for us to know the amount of money that it's costing. Because this was a big like push and, oh God. I don't know, I'm gonna have to think on this a little
It's
bit.
good. Is there a way to do a link on Facebook? Can you create a link where you can go straight there to the newsletter?
Shouldn't you be able to push it out on the app too?
We can, but that only gets the people that have registered with the app.
inventory,
And
yes.
it's not these people.
And it's these
I
people
know,
we need.
I know, agreed.
Nope, I think it's important. Sorry. I mean, it's.
So
a
let's
lot.
see how it goes for the year.
But
No,
you know-
I mean, I don't think you can throw it out with, you know, the first, but let's
Yeah.
see how it goes. And we'll,
Are we doing it monthly, you said?
no, every
quarter.
every other month. So there will be a total of 6, about 6. And if it's about $4,000 a piece, that's $24,000. But again, I have the money budgeted to cover that out of SIA. I've got like $35,000 in SIA to cover parent community engagement.
No, it's expensive. I work on newsletters, so
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
And I feel like Clackamas, like we use Clackamas CSD, they're very cost effective. I mean, they're great. And the person that's doing our layout, he's really inexpensive and he donates some of his time as well. So
Yeah, and it looks great.
It looks great.
it
yeah,
does.
It really does.
Yeah, he does a good job and our writer does a good job too. So I just want to let you know that's coming out. And then the other piece is that postcards went out to the precinct people. And the postcard also had a QR code on it that
Look like this. I need copies.
oh, nice, okay. So, I'll just pass it around. Anyway, so there was a postcard that went out to the 2 precincts that had the high voter turnout, 50%, around 50% voter turnout, and the high no vote, you know, anywhere from 50% no to 68, 70% no. So the idea is that in the postcard, we said you are getting a special invite to the community engagement evenings that are happening October 25th and 26th, and November 2nd is in Spanish. And you're getting this postcard because voters in your precinct voted no on the bond. And it's important that we come together and find common ground. What can we do to build a plan that majority of voters can support, because our kids need that. So that was one of the communications that went out as well. The other thing I wanted to highlight in this community, let's see here. In this section here, under community, community links. Tracy Lewis just got this posted today. So as you're aware, we had the meet and greet for the mayoral candidates and a couple of the city council people that showed up. And so I will push this link out to the city tomorrow, as well as the candidates, so that they can share it with their constituents as they would like on whatever social media platform they have. But it's a YouTube video and it's just a recording of the Q&A. And we'll put it out in also into, like, I'll post on social media, hey, check this link out. Your candidates were hosted by the unions. And so that is there. Be happy about that. Okay, and then my other part of my report, I will talk about during the bond update.
We can't do any of the.
Nope, can't do any of the action items. Nope. What I can do and what I need to do is talk to you about Division 22 standards. And so this, we have listed it as an action item. It, the law doesn't require the board to adopt it, but the law does require us to share it with you and share it with the community by November 1st, which is why it always goes into the October board meeting. So Division 22 standards are those, we're required to give assurances to our community and the state that we are teaching the types of material that we're supposed to teach and addressing the standards. And so basically, you've got all of these rules and regulations on the types of things that school districts are responsible for, everything from instruction to pest management to hiring practices and licensure. And so those standards are set by the Oregon legislative body. And then the state board puts together rules about how we're supposed to implement those. So we couldn't just decide, we don't like that standard, not doing it. Can't do that. And then the idea to share this compliance report is that to assure our constituents and the public that we're not just making this stuff up as we go. We don't have 80s Act posted up there or social emotional curriculum posted just because we couldn't figure out what else to do. Everything we do is in response to something that we're directed or told that we need to do, as well as the community feedback that we get. So at any time, parents could come in and they could ask, okay, well, how is 80s Act or 80s law tied to a standard? And show me where that's written in law, and how does our district engaging kids in that education? And we're required to, share that information and have that, which is why our website has become much more robust. So if you look at the different categories, you've got teaching and learning, which we've talked about, and we now have a teaching and learning website. We have the health and safety. So it's not just about policies and practices about being healthy but it's also about asbestos abatement, like I said, pest management, radon testing, those kinds of things.
And all these come from the Department of Education, correct?
They are all based on law from the Oregon legislature, and then the Board of Education puts
These processes together, this
Yes.
policy.
Yeah.
Okay, so really, and then those policies, and then we figure out how to implement the policy, and the way
Right.
it's translated is sometimes vague at times.
Right.
No, it is.
I know, it's
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, that's what I
Yeah.
Every time I'm like,
I mean, so it's
Wow.
kind of like,
Okay.
just making sure. I'm
Nope,
following
that's
the
the
process.
process. So here's an even more in-depth example. So for instance, under curriculum instruction, there's required instructional minutes.
Mhm.
How many days you have to be in school, how many minutes over the year. There's the required sexuality education component. And then, there's assessments. We have to provide the opportunity to give SBAC testing, but we also have to provide the opportunity for parents to opt out of that if they don't want their kid to take the test. Then we have different programs, ELD programs. We have to identify those kids, SPED kids, tag, those kinds of things. And then, of course, the bottom line of K-12 education is to get kids a high school diploma that they're able to then go into the world and function with the necessary skills. And then there's the health and safety I talked a little bit about. And then We also have, like your complaint procedure, your like how does public make a complaint or address a concern? And then, staffing, licensure, background checks, that kind of thing. That's all covered in these categories. So for this, so we have to report on last year. How did we do last year? And so what happens is that the department sends us this big document and then they let us know, hey, for this last year, you didn't have to worry about X, Y, and Z. And so for waivers for last year, we didn't have to do those local performance assessments. Like if a kid didn't pass SBAC, then we didn't have to do the essential skill component to make sure that they had graduation standards met. And then we didn't have to do the kindergarten assessment, because I know a lot of kindergartners weren't coming to school, and why do that?
So can I ask a question, just
Yeah.
more from my understanding? So those are the waivers that we got from the department, but can you ever ask for a waiver?
You can, so these waivers apply to everybody in the state.
Okay.
But let's suppose like the schools that had the fire situation, right? They did not meet their instructional minutes. So in special unique circumstances, they can apply for a waiver, depending on whatever their circumstance might be, and then the ODE will tell them whether or not they are granted that waiver or conditional waiver, like, okay, fine.
But you have to do something else.
Yeah. So, and then this year, as last year, as well as this year, all of us had to submit operational plans in response to COVID. And we have those posted online. It's basically the same as it was last year. In terms of, we provide tests if people want to take tests. We have an isolation room. We provide parents with information if their kid tests positive. Okay, so there's 3 steps to this assurance process. Moving around here. So I have to report to you as I've described. Then once I report to you, we have to post on the webpage and push it out. Hey, check out our compliance statements. And how we go through this process is that Sandra posts the document on a Google share sheet, and then I label who's responsible for what. And then everybody has to start filling in the boxes, and we ask each other questions. And then if we have to go ask the library media assistant, hey, are you doing this? Or what's that look like? Then we have it all documented about what that looks like and who's in charge of what. And then after I do that, then I also have to submit a form to ODE by the 15th of November. And then they get back to us about whether or not they agree with our evidence, and if we state we're either in compliance or not in compliance, and then they share what we have to do next. So what I think has made this process so much easier as I've progressed through this, my leadership here, we have hired Bonnie Atwood as the TOSA for teaching and learning. That is how we were able to get standards mapped out, curriculum attached to it, and get that online so parents know, what are you teaching? When are you teaching? What materials are you using? And also has helped us start that conversation of, if this needs to happen in 9th grade, what should be happening in 8th grade, and pushing it on down. We also have better documentation about how are we making this determination, because we have this Google spreadsheet that we share, and then we keep referring back to it. So for instance, in a couple of the areas that we're not in compliance, we've got the spreadsheet. Now we know exactly where to go back and take a look at that. Last year at this time, we did report to ODE that we were not in compliance with our talented and gifted program. There were many areas that we were out of compliance. And when they saw the evidence, they actually told us, well, okay, you're kind of out of compliance, but you can put out of compliance, but work in progress. So it's not, we didn't get penalized for it. And then what we learned for last year is that we are out of compliance with the ratio of teachers and dyslexia training, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. So last year, when we identified that, hey, we were out of compliance in TAG, and so, well, 2 years ago, we were out of compliance. Last year, we were out of compliance. They allowed us to write implement corrective action, because a TAG program, you just don't like quickly type up something on a Word document and wash your hands and good to go. You have to identify kids. You have to train teachers on what tag differentiation looks like. So that's been a work in progress. So in talking to Creighton about this, we all knew that we needed to have teachers trained in dyslexia identification, so prior to COVID, we had done that. But we were not aware that there was an actual ratio. We were under the impression as long as we had several that could pick up the slack, that we were fine. Well, in looking further at the information, it said 1 in each grade, K5, which would mean 6, and we only had 4. So we'll report ourselves as out of compliance. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, because I think part of the reason that we don't have as many as we thought we did is we had a couple of teachers retire and that one teacher left, and all of them were trained. And there's also not been a whole lot of training happening during COVID. So we will spend this year. This is your waiver. We can apply for the waiver and say, look, because of staff turnover and the unique COVID circumstances, we don't have the ability to be sending teachers out of a classroom right now to get dyslexic training. So as soon as there's training offered in the evening or summer break, we will make sure we're back into compliance with that. And I'm sure that they will be fine with that. So then looking ahead to next year, for when we report for this year, so it'll be next November or October, November. PE requirements are a big deal. We're supposed to, they up it to 225, but we have 240, so we're fine. We've met those minutes. And then operational plans for the school year, again, in relation to COVID, those are posted and will be updated as necessary. And then this agreement's entered into with voluntary organizations. That was policy that was up for second reading tonight. And so once we get that adopted, we will next November be able to report that we're in full compliance. And that has to do with athletics and making sure we're part of the athletic association, OSAA, that helps maintain Title IX, free from harassment, bullying, that kind of thing. And then our tag services. So Bonnie worked with the tag compliance officer from ODE, and she has approved our plan. It's posted. And then this next month, Bonnie will begin identifying students who should be considered for tag based on testing points and other qualifiers. And so she'll be generating the parent letters as well as the teacher feedback. And she's considered our district tag coordinator. It's been a long time since we've had anybody in that position, apparently. And then not only is Bonnie trained, but we need to have more teachers trained. So last week we had our second in service with the ODE tag coordinator, and we'll be bringing her back for other workshops throughout the year and into next summer as well. So just getting teachers to be thinking about differentiation. And what I appreciated about Angela Allen from ODE is that she talked about tag differentiation. It's like teachers should be looking at their lesson plans as if every kid is tagged, because really every kid has a strength in some area. And so if we're thinking about each kid individually, you're going to come up with differentiation for your ELL kids and your SPED kids, your tag kids. So that was received fairly well by our teachers. And so they're kind of unsure about some of it. So that's the reporting requirement. Do you have any questions for me? No. Okay. All right, and then the only other thing would be the bond update. So as I shared, we have 3 upcoming community engagement meetings, the 25th, 26th, and the November 2nd. I asked Sandra to print off these names for these 2 big precincts out of town to see. I was going to ask each board member to maybe identify 2, 3, 4 people that you would be willing to make contact with. And at least if they can't come next week, to see if they're interested in another meeting time, another, partnering with us on the pre-bond planning committee, helping us, like I said, create that relationship or create that plan where people can kind of rally around that. But I also thought it was interesting to see who the names are of the people that live in these two precincts. Because there are some longtime families here. And, it gives us a good starting point. I think what I'll do after November 2nd is, Mr. Piramine, Mr. Belkey, and Ken Stott last spring after the bond failed agreed to kind of be some point people in rallying these outside town folks. So I'm gonna meet with them and see what are they willing to do in the next couple of months to try to get some more support and help us gather data for what voters would support so that you have some kind of general direction to go. And then we will also be reconvening the pre-bond planning committee. I hope to have a meeting at the end of November and one in December, early January, and then give your final recommendation to you in February in time for you to decide if you want to go for the bond or not. The filing deadline, I think, is February 21st or something like that. That's all I have.
Okay, so you want us to reach out to 4 of these folks on here and see if they're willing to come to the meeting? Okay, you know, I'm running out of people. So, yeah,
And even if they are, maybe they can't come next week, but maybe they'd be willing to sit down and meet with me and kind of strategize. I reached out to the one, Rebecca Sharkoff, remember she reached out to us
Yeah.
after the bond didn't pass. And she's going to, they have a community event this weekend. She's gonna talk with some people to see if they'll come. And then she was one of the members of the pre-bond planning committee. So when we reconvene that, I'm gonna ask her to bring a couple of people with her.
yeah, she's.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, then, if we don't have anything else, I think we can call it a night. Do you have anything?
No.
Okay, then I adjourn this meeting.
Thanks.